What is the difference between classical and prototypal inheritance in JavaScript? To understand that question, let's just first try and understand what I mean when I say classical. Classical inheritance is named that way because it's really talking about the methods of object orientation used in older languages like Java and C++. We have something called a class, which acts as a blueprint, a design, and then we create an instance of that class. So think of the class as the architectural diagram and the instance as a house made to the specifications of that architectural diagram. You can't live in an architectural diagram, you can only live in a house. That's how object orientation works in Java or C++. You create a class, which is the architectural diagram, and then you create an instance of a class, which is like building a house to the specs of that diagram. But in JavaScript, inheritance works actually using prototypes. It's prototypal. Coming back to our analogy, in prototypal inheritance, new objects are created from existing objects. There isn't an architectural diagram for a house. We just build a house based on an existing house. So if JavaScript is just prototypal inheritance, what do people mean when they say classical inheritance in JavaScript? And what they mean by that is that there is a method in JavaScript of emulating something that looks, at least in code, looks like it's classical inheritance. It's sometimes called classical inheritance, it's sometimes called the constructor pattern, and it's sometimes called a pseudo-classical pattern. And really that's it. There isn't a real classical object-orientated method in JavaScript because all object orientation in JavaScript is based on prototypes. It's prototypal. We just have kind of two methods really. We have this fake classical pattern and a more direct prototypal OO pattern. So to summarize, we have two types of inheritance, one called classical and one called prototypal. The confusion that people have is thinking that we have a classical method in JavaScript, but no, we don't. We have a classical method that's available in other languages, but all inheritance in JavaScript is actually prototypal. We have a direct prototypal pattern, but we also have a pseudo-classical pattern, which is a way of writing classes and writing OO functionality in JavaScript, which would be familiar to people who are coming from other classical languages.